happy, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I won. OLED, baby.
We're back at it again with another handheld tech takedown. I've got the ASUS ROG Ally X.
And I've got the Steam Deck OLED.
All right, Tony, you're up first. Why do you think the Steam Deck OLED is still relevant in 2024?
Well, the Steam Deck OLED is still relevant because of the OLED part. This screen is absolutely gorgeous. You wouldn't think it would make that much of a big difference, but it actually does. Like, colors just pop. The contrast between like the darker and light elements just makes everything look fantastic. Like, it just really immerses you. It's one of those things where you wouldn't think it would like help that much, but it really does. And it kind of offsets the fact that of an advantage that the Ally has, which is a 1080p screen. Yeah, that's great and all, but there's no OLED, so it just makes things so much richer. So like right there alone, that could be just the biggest selling point for most people. It's like, got an OLED, I'm buying this, end of story. And right now, aside from the Nintendo Switch, this is the only handheld right now that has an OLED. So right there, that gives it a huge edge.
All right, 30 seconds on the clock. Here's why that doesn't really matter. Sometimes you do want to play games at 1080p. You know, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I want this to feel like a AAA console on the go. And sometimes I do want that extra screen fidelity. You can't get that there, even if you did have the performance, which you don't. I think the Ally X, especially now with its upgrades, is closer than ever to giving you true console experience on the go. I mean, undeniably, your screen is much better. I mean, it's an OLED. This does not hold a torch to it, just like with the previous Ally. That's one of the few things that wasn't upgraded on this. What was upgraded, and it makes actually a lot of difference, is the performance. And even though this does have the same processor here, I think it gives a lot of quality of life improvements, both with its RAM, its heat dissipation, and even the ergonomics here, which we'll get to in a little bit. But in terms of performance, games that previously would, you know, chug along are running a lot smoother now because it has more of that headroom of performance. You know, we've gone from 16 gigabytes of RAM over to 24 gigabytes of RAM. Games that previously wouldn't even launch, like, what was it, Alan Wake 2? You'd have to go into the system settings and change it to from auto RAM to allocating all 16 gigabytes to the GPU. Now you don't have that problem. So games are gonna run smoother. You're gonna have now about like 3 to 4 frames per second more than you did before. And that's on top of the performance gains that it already had compared to the Steam Deck OLED.
All right, so I'm not gonna deny that has better performance, but as you said, and this is something I noticed myself, you get about 5 extra frames around the board, 720p and 1080p. Is that really worth the extra cost? Like, for some people, yes, if you're a competitor gamer, sure, but I think for most people, they're not even gonna notice that. Unless they have the little frame counter on the side, they're not gonna notice that big deal. Yes, I like more frames myself, but I don't think it's gonna matter to most people.
3 to 4 frames per second maybe isn't as noticeable, but what is noticeable is smoothness.
All right, so which one do you think is winning so far? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you want to learn more about Tony's thoughts on the new Ally X, check out his buy or skip live on YouTube. All right, Tony, you already know what my final point on this is going to be. This isn't just a gaming handheld, it's also a desktop replacement, and in fact, that's what I mostly use this for. I have this docked on my nice 49-inch ultra-wide monitor, and when I'm not playing games, I can do work on this. I can run Slack, I can run Word documents on it. When I'm not gaming, this is also a productivity machine that I can take anywhere with me. And I think the fact that you have SteamOS, which yes, does have its pros, is, you know, limiting. The fact that this runs full Windows, which, yes, can suck at times, and I know you're gonna bring that up, that also unlocks a lot of potential with this because I can connect, you know, external SSDs, I can run programs on this, I can do like a lot of things that this isn't really designed to do unless you do some workarounds for it. So as an all-in-one PC, which does cost a little bit more, it's a desktop, laptop, gaming console replacement. It's all 3 in 1.
Okay, those are all great points, but you're talking about a PC. That's great, but I buy these things because I want a gaming handheld. I don't care about all that extra stuff. It's nice, but I just want to pick up my machine and play. And as you said, Windows 11 isn't great for handhelds, so I don't even want to go through all that stuff. Like, why am I being asked if I want Office 365? I want to know what games I could play. I don't care about any other stuff. It's cool, but I just want to play my games. All right, and my last point, and this ties back to what you talked about, this runs on Steam OS, which is perfectly built for this form factor. When I start this up, it takes me right into my games, my launcher and all that.
With Armor Trade.
Yeah, you can do that, but after you've installed Windows, which you have to go through that whole process. You sign up, log into your Outlook, all that nonsense. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to play my games. The biggest strength this has, and not only because of how easy it is to use, because games are actually better optimized for SteamOS and for, you know, this specific chip. And there's even like a website tells you which games are compatible, which aren't, and even sometimes games that aren't compatible still are compatible. So I think for most people, SteamOS is just the way to go. It's just so seamless. I never have to use the touchscreen at all, whereas you have to use the touchscreen like all the time on the other systems. I'm not even just talking about the ASUS Rog Ally. Like every single Windows 11 has that issue. This doesn't. It's just play your game seamlessly. SteamOS is the greatest advantage this machine has over all other handhelds. Rebut.
Honestly, I think Armory Crate has come a long way, and once you're in it, and you can also set it to auto launch once you log into Windows, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, you have to do the initial setup, but who cares, dude? I have all my games here, I have all my quick settings, I can monitor all my like PC stats if I want to get nerdy about that, but I think I basically have the same like user experience once the game is installed here. And I have a lot more options. Like I don't have to go through Steam to get my games. I can go through GOG, I can go through Epic, I can do like Xbox Cloud Gaming. Do you have all those apps on yours?
I can get those, but you're right, it is a little bit more work.
This feels a lot like when we took this on about a few months ago. Yeah. And I think, you know, when we were doing that original video, we were all hypothesizing about this because rumors were coming out. We were like, what's going to be new about this? And I think we were kind of like in the right ballpark. We said it's probably not going to be a big performance upgrade. And I personally didn't even need a big performance upgrade. I just wanted them to fix a lot of the quality of life things. An additional USB-C at the top, also Thunderbolt, faster charging, a bigger battery. I think those are things I didn't even get to in the video, but they do make this feel like a more complete Windows gaming handheld. And the keyword there is Windows.
Yeah. I was about to say that, yeah. Again, and I want people to understand that I'm not just shilling for Steam Deck. I want something better, right? That has better specs than this. But at the end of the day, SteamOS really makes a big difference. Everything's just so seamless. So if I could have SteamOS in that form factor, that'd be fantastic. Or, hey, Microsoft, if you're listening, Windows 11 for handhelds. Why don't we have that?
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, like, come on. Like, that would really give Steam Deck and Valve, like, a run for its money. But, again, I think that's a fantastic upgrade. I think it addresses all the problems people originally had. But at the end of the day, I would still recommend the Steam Deck OLED, not only because of how seamless everything is, but it's also not as expensive.
It comes down to value and convenience and knowing that your games are just going to launch, like, well. Versus, okay, I want the additional performance, I want the ability to use this again as a desktop replacement. I'm spending more money on it, but I'm getting a little bit more here if that's something that you want. That's great and all, but what do you guys think? Which handheld do you think came out on top? The Steam Deck OLED or the new ASUS ROG Ally X? You know what we think, but we want to know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to learn more, be sure to check out Tony's full video for the ASUS ROG Ally X. You can follow me to see more of the behind the scenes of what cool tech I'm working on.
And you can read my articles over at tomsguy.com.
And until the next one, we'll catch you guys later.
New York, baby. New York, baby.